They said she was a ghost, a myth whispered in the darkest corners of enemy territory. 500 confirmed eliminations, 500 lives ended by a single trigger finger. And now, every time she stepped outside her front door to go to the gym, 3 armed agents followed her like shadows. Because when you take that many lives in the name of freedom, the world doesn't forget. And neither do those who want revenge. Before we continue, drop a comment below telling us what city or country you're watching this from. Her name was Lieutenant Commander Jordan Reaper Cassidy, and she never asked to become the most feared sniper in U.S. Navy SEAL history. She just wanted to serve. She just wanted to protect. But war has a way of turning soldiers into legends and legends into targets. Jordan grew up in a small town outside Bozeman, Montana, where the mountains stretched endlessly toward heaven and the winters were so brutal they could kill you if you weren't careful. Her father was a hunting guide, her mother a nurse who worked night shifts at the county hospital. Jordan learned to shoot at age 7, not for sport, but for survival. Elk season meant food for the winter. Missing a shot meant going hungry. She was the youngest of 4 children, the only girl, and the only one who could outshoot her brothers by the time she turned 12. Her father used to joke that she had ice water in her veins. No matter how cold it got, no matter how hard the wind blew, Jordan never flinched. She just breathed, aimed, and squeezed every single time. When she was 16, her oldest brother died in a car accident on a frozen highway. Jordan found him. She was the one who held his hand as the life drained from his eyes, whispering promises she couldn't keep. That night changed everything. She realized that life was fragile, that death could come for anyone at any moment, and that the only way to honor her brother was to protect others the way she couldn't protect him. So at 18, Jordan enlisted. Not in the army like most Montana kids. Not in the Marines like her father wanted. She enlisted in the Navy with one goal in mind: to become a SEAL. Everyone told her it was impossible. Women weren't allowed in SEAL training back then. The rules were clear. The doors were closed. But Jordan didn't care about rules. She cared about purpose. She trained alone in the Montana wilderness for 2 years, running through snowdrifts, swimming in frozen lakes, carrying logs up mountain trails until her body screamed for mercy. She taught herself to survive on nothing, to endure everything, to become the kind of weapon the world had never seen. When the military finally opened SEAL training to women, Jordan was the first one through the door. She was 23 years old, lean and scarred and absolutely relentless. The instructors tried to break her in the first week. Hell Week nearly killed her, but she never quit. Not once. Not even when her bones ached and her lungs burned and every fiber of her being begged her to stop. She graduated top of her class. The men who trained alongside her didn't celebrate. They resented her. They whispered that she only made it because the Navy wanted a poster girl, a token female, to prove a point. They said she'd never see real combat, that she'd be stuck doing public relations and recruitment videos for the rest of her career. Jordan didn't respond to the whispers. She just kept training, kept improving, kept proving that she belonged. Her first deployment was to Afghanistan, embedded with SEAL Team 3 in the Helmand province. The mission was counter-terrorism, hunting down high-value targets in one of the most dangerous regions on Earth. Jordan's role was designated marksman, providing overwatch and precision fire support for ground operations. The first time she took a life, she was lying prone on a rooftop at 3 in the morning, watching through her scope as a convoy of insurgents moved through a village below. Her spotter whispered coordinates: wind speed, distance, elevation. Jordan calculated everything in her head, adjusted her breathing, and fired. The target dropped instantly, clean, efficient, no suffering. Jordan felt nothing, no guilt, no remorse, just the cold certainty that she had done her job, that she had protected her team, that her brother would be proud. Over the next 4 years, Jordan deployed 7 times: Iraq, Syria, Somalia, Yemen. Anywhere the enemy hid, she followed. Her reputation grew with every mission. Taliban commanders started calling her the Silent Angel. ISIS fighters believed she was supernatural, that bullets couldn't touch her, that she could see through walls. The truth was simpler. Jordan was just better than everyone else. She studied her targets obsessively, memorizing their patterns, predicting their movements. She never took unnecessary risks, never fired unless she was certain, and she never, ever missed. By her 5th deployment, her confirmed kill count had reached 200. By her 6th, 350. Commanders started requesting her specifically for high-risk operations. Politicians wanted to meet her. Journalists wanted to write about her. Jordan refused all of it. She didn't want fame. She wanted to do her job and go home. But the world doesn't let legends stay quiet. It was during her 7th deployment, a classified operation in northern Syria, that everything changed. Intelligence had located a high-value target, a terrorist leader responsible for coordinating attacks across Europe and the Middle East. The mission was simple: eliminate the target and extract before enemy reinforcements arrived. Jordan's team inserted under cover of darkness, moving through the ruins of an abandoned city like ghosts. They reached the target building without incident. Jordan set up her overwatch position on a rooftop 400 meters away, her rifle trained on the 3rd-floor window where the target was believed to be hiding. Then everything went wrong. The building was a trap. Enemy fighters had been waiting, hiding in the rubble, and the moment Jordan's team breached the door, gunfire erupted from every direction. Her teammates were pinned down, surrounded, taking casualties. The radio screamed with panic and desperation. Jordan didn't hesitate. She shifted her rifle from the window to the streets below and started firing. 1 shot, 1 kill, another shot, another kill. She moved with mechanical precision, her breathing steady, her hands rock solid. Insurgents fell like dominoes, never knowing where death was coming from. She fired 43 rounds in 6 minutes. 43 kills. Not a single wasted bullet. Her team escaped with only minor injuries. The mission was a success. But the enemy had learned her face, they had learned her name, and they had sworn revenge. When Jordan returned stateside after that deployment, naval intelligence pulled her into a briefing room and showed her the evidence. Terrorist networks across 3 continents had put a bounty on her head. $5 million to anyone who could kill the American sniper known as Reaper. Her photo was circulating on encrypted forums. Her home address had been leaked. Even her family in Montana was being watched. The Navy assigned her a protection detail, 3 agents from Naval Criminal Investigative Service, rotating shifts, following her everywhere she went. At first, Jordan hated it. She felt like a prisoner in her own country, punished for doing her job too well. But she understood the reality. She had killed over 500 enemy combatants. 500 people who had families, who had friends, who had comrades willing to die for revenge. The threat was real. The danger was constant. So Jordan adapted. She moved into a secure apartment complex near Naval Amphibious Base Coronado in San Diego. She changed her routines constantly. She never went anywhere alone. And every morning at 5 a.m., when she left her apartment to go to the gym, 3 armed agents followed her. The gym was called Iron Legion, a hardcore training facility frequented by active-duty military, retired operators, and serious athletes. Jordan had been going there for 3 years, long before the protection detail, long before the bounty. It was her sanctuary, the one place where she could push her body to the limit and forget about everything else. But now, every time she walked through those doors, the entire gym went quiet. People stared. They whispered. They knew who she was. Some looked at her with admiration, others with fear, and a few with barely concealed resentment. Jordan ignored all of it. She put in her earbuds, loaded the barbell, and trained like her life depended on it, because maybe it did. On a Tuesday morning in late September, Jordan walked into Iron Legion at exactly 5:15 a.m., her 3-agent detail trailing behind her. The gym was unusually crowded, filled with Marines from nearby Camp Pendleton and a group of private military contractors she didn't recognize. Jordan moved to the squat rack in the back corner, her usual spot, and started her warm-up. She loaded 2 45-pound plates onto each side of the bar, chalked her hands, and positioned herself beneath the weight. That's when she noticed him. A man standing near the water fountain, staring at her with an intensity that made her instincts scream. He was Middle Eastern, maybe late 30s, heavily muscled, with a scar running down the left side of his face. He wore a black tank top and tactical pants, and his eyes never left Jordan's. Jordan's protection detail noticed him too. Agent Ramirez, the lead agent, moved closer, his hand resting casually on the weapon hidden beneath his jacket. The other 2 agents repositioned themselves, creating a protective triangle around Jordan. The man smiled, cold, predatory. Jordan set the barbell back on the rack and walked directly toward him. Ramirez tried to intercept her, but she waved him off. This was her world, her rules. She stopped 3 feet from the man and looked him in the eyes. "You got a problem?" The man's smile widened. "You're shorter than I expected, Reaper." Jordan's blood went cold. Nobody in this gym knew that call sign except military personnel with high-level clearance. This man shouldn't know it, couldn't know it, unless he was exactly who she feared he was. "Who are you?" Jordan's voice was flat, emotionless, the same tone she used before pulling a trigger. The man leaned closer, his voice dropping to a whisper. "I'm the brother of the man you killed in Mosul, the uncle of the boy you shot in Raqqa, the son of the elder you executed in Kandahar." Jordan didn't blink. "Then you know I don't miss." The man laughed, a sound like grinding glass. "You think your guards can protect you forever. You think you're safe here, in your comfortable American gym, surrounded by your weak American friends." Before Jordan could respond, Ramirez was there, his weapon drawn, pointing directly at the man's chest. The other 2 agents moved in, hands on their guns, ready to fire. The entire gym erupted in chaos, people screaming, dropping weights, running for the exits. But the man didn't move. He just kept staring at Jordan, his smile never fading. "I'm not here to kill you today, Reaper. I'm here to deliver a message. 500 of my people are dead because of you, and now 500 of us are coming for you. We know where you sleep. We know where you train. We know where you breathe." Jordan's jaw tightened. "Then come, I'll add 500 more to my count." The man's eyes flashed with rage. For a moment, Jordan thought he would attack, thought this would end in blood right here on the gym floor. But instead, he stepped back, hands raised in mock surrender. "Soon, Reaper, very soon." "Yay!" He turned and walked out of the gym, disappearing into the early morning darkness. Ramirez immediately radioed for backup, and within minutes, the entire building was swarming with federal agents, local police, and military security forces. Jordan stood in the center of the chaos, her heart pounding, her mind racing. She had faced death 1,000 times on the battlefield, but this was different. This was personal. This was a promise. The next day, naval intelligence confirmed what Jordan already knew. The man was Rashid Al-Fayez, a high-ranking operative in a transnational terrorist network. His entire family had been killed in U.S. military operations over the past decade, many of them by Jordan herself. And now he had assembled a coalition of enemies, all united by one goal, to make her pay. The Navy wanted to pull her off active duty, to hide her away in a classified location until the threat passed. But Jordan refused. She had spent her entire life refusing to hide, refusing to back down, refusing to let fear control her. Instead, she made a counter-proposal. Use herself as bait. Draw the enemy out. Finish this once and for all. Her superiors called her insane, suicidal, reckless, but deep down they knew she was right. This threat wasn't going away. Rashid and his coalition would keep coming, keep hunting, keep killing, until they got what they wanted. The only way to end it was to confront it head-on. So they designed an operation, classified, high risk, off the books. Jordan would continue her normal routine, going to the gym every morning, living her life as publicly as possible. But this time, she wouldn't be alone. SEAL Team 6 would be embedded in the area, disguised as civilians, ready to strike the moment Rashid made his move. FBI counter-terrorism units would be monitoring every inch of the surrounding neighborhoods. Drones would be overhead, invisible eyes watching for any sign of an attack. Jordan would be the bait, and when the trap was sprung, there would be nowhere for Rashid to run. The operation began the following Monday. Jordan woke at 4:30 a.m., put on her workout clothes, and walked out of her apartment exactly as she always did. Her protection detail followed, just as they always did. Everything looked normal, routine, safe, but beneath the surface, dozens of operators were moving into position. Snipers on rooftops, surveillance teams in unmarked vehicles, assault teams ready to breach at a moment's notice. Jordan walked into Iron Legion at 5:15 a.m. The gym was nearly empty, just a handful of early risers going through their routines. She moved to her usual spot, loaded the bar and started her workout. Minutes passed, then an hour. Nothing happened. Jordan finished her squat sets and moved to the bench press. Still nothing. She completed her entire workout, showered, and walked back to her apartment without incident. The operation continued for 3 days. 3 mornings of the same routine, the same waiting, the same crushing tension. On the 4th day, everything exploded. Jordan was halfway through her workout when the power went out. The entire gym plunged into darkness. Emergency lights flickering on moments later, casting everything in eerie red shadows. Ramirez grabbed Jordan's arm. "We're leaving. Now." But before they could move, the front windows shattered inward, and smoke grenades tumbled across the floor. The gym filled with choking white clouds, screams echoing through the chaos. Jordan's training kicked in instantly. She dropped low, pulling Ramirez down with her, her mind processing the situation with cold precision. This wasn't random. This was coordinated. This was Rashid. Gunfire erupted from multiple directions, not aimed at her, aimed at her protection detail. Jordan heard Ramirez grunt in pain as a bullet caught him in the shoulder. She dragged him behind a weight bench, her hands already reaching for his sidearm. Through the smoke, she saw shapes moving, armed men, at least 6 of them, advancing through the gym with military precision. They were hunting her. Jordan chambered around, her breathing steady, despite the adrenaline coursing through her veins. She had spent years fighting in the world's most dangerous places, but she had never imagined she would have to fight in her own gym, in her own country, protecting her own life. But here she was, and she wasn't going to die today. The first attacker rounded the weight bench, and Jordan fired twice. Center mass, he dropped without a sound. The second attacker came from her left, and she pivoted, firing once, headshot, clean. The smoke was clearing now, and she could see the rest of them. 4 more, all armed, all converging on her position. Jordan moved like water, flowing between obstacles, using the gym equipment as cover. She fired with surgical precision, each shot calculated, each target eliminated. 4 shots, 4 kills. And then there was silence. Jordan stood in the center of the gym, weapon raised, scanning for threats. The emergency lights cast long shadows across the bodies on the floor. 6 attackers, 6 dead. But where was Rashid? The answer came from behind her, a voice, smooth and cold. Impressive, Reaper, but not good enough. Jordan spun, weapon tracking, but froze when she saw him. Rashid stood near the entrance, one arm wrapped around the throat of a young woman, a civilian who had been working the front desk. In his other hand, he held a knife pressed against her neck. "Drop your weapon, or she dies." Jordan's mind raced. She could take the shot. She had made harder shots under worse conditions. But if she missed, if she hesitated even a fraction of a second, the woman would die. Rashid saw the calculation in her eyes and smiled. "You're wondering if you can do it, if you're fast enough, accurate enough. But you know the truth, don't you? You're not fighting from a rooftop anymore. You're not invisible. You're just a woman with a gun, and I'm holding all the cards." Jordan slowly lowered her weapon. "Let her go. This is between you and me." Rashid laughed. "Everything is between you and me, Reaper. Every life you took, every family you destroyed, every child you orphaned. This woman is just one more." Jordan's jaw tightened. "You want revenge? Fine. Kill me, but let her go first." Rashid's eyes gleamed with satisfaction. "Oh, I'm going to kill you, but not yet. First, I want you to understand what it feels like to lose someone, to watch them die, and know you could have saved them." He pressed the knife harder against the woman's throat, drawing blood, and then the world exploded. The wall behind Rashid disintegrated in a hail of gunfire as SEAL Team 6 breached the building. Flashbangs detonated, filling the gym with blinding light and deafening sound. Rashid staggered, his grip on the hostage loosening for just a fraction of a second. That was all Jordan needed. She raised her weapon and fired. The bullet caught Rashid in the right shoulder, spinning him away from the hostage. The woman broke free, running toward the SEALs as they swarmed into the gym. Jordan fired again, hitting Rashid in the leg, dropping him to his knees. But he wasn't done. With his last ounce of strength, he raised his own weapon, aiming directly at Jordan's chest. Time seemed to slow. Jordan saw his finger tightening on the trigger, saw the hatred in his eyes, saw her own death coming. And then another shot rang out. Rashid's head snapped back, and he collapsed to the floor, lifeless. Jordan turned to see Agent Ramirez, blood soaking through his shirt, his weapon still raised, smoke curling from the barrel. He gave her a weak smile. "Told you I'd keep you safe, ma'am." Jordan rushed to his side as medics swarmed in, applying pressure to his wound. The gym was chaos, federal agents everywhere, securing the scene, checking for additional threats. But it was over. Rashid was dead. The coalition was shattered. The threat was neutralized. Jordan sat on the floor, her back against a weight bench, her hands shaking for the first time in years. She had survived. They all had survived. But the cost had been high. Ramirez would recover, but 2 other agents had been killed in the initial attack. 6 civilians were injured. The gym was destroyed. And Jordan knew with absolute certainty that this would never truly be over. There would always be another threat, another enemy, another person seeking revenge for the lives she had taken. Because that's what it meant to be a warrior. To carry the weight of every decision, every action, every consequence. But Jordan didn't regret it, not for a second. She had done what needed to be done. She had protected the innocent. She had served with honor, and she would keep doing it for as long as she was able. 3 weeks later, Jordan walked into a brand new gym across town, her protection detail following as always. The owner, a retired Marine, shook her hand and told her the first month was free. Jordan smiled for the first time in weeks. "I appreciate it, but I'll pay. Wouldn't be right otherwise." She moved to the squat rack, loaded the bar, and began her workout. Around her, the gym buzzed with normal activity, people training, laughing, living their lives without fear. And for a moment, Jordan allowed herself to feel something she rarely felt. Peace. But she never forgot, never let her guard down, never stopped watching the shadows, because somewhere out there another enemy was planning, another threat was forming, another battle was waiting. And Jordan would be ready. She had eliminated over 500 enemies in defense of her country. She had survived assassination attempts, ambushes, and direct confrontations. She had become a living legend, a ghost story told in the darkest corners of the world. But she was also human, a woman from Montana who just wanted to serve, to protect, to honor her brother's memory. And nothing, not fear, not danger, not death itself, would ever stop her from doing exactly that. The barbell felt heavy on her shoulders as she descended into another squat, her muscles burning, her mind clear. This was her meditation, her sanctuary, her way of staying connected to the person she used to be before the war, before the killing, before the legend. Jordan rose from the squat, exhaled slowly, and prepared for another rep. Outside, the sun was rising over San Diego, painting the sky in shades of gold and crimson. A new day, a new chance, a new battle to fight. And Lieutenant Commander Jordan Reaper Cassidy would face it the same way she faced everything, with courage, with honor, and with the unshakable belief that some things are worth fighting for, no matter the cost.